I want you to stare at this dot for a moment. Keep staring because I promise you're about to see something amazing. For the next few seconds, make this dot your whole world. Stare directly at it and don't look away. You're allowed to blink, but keep looking because the image is about to change. Keep your eyes fixed on that dot no matter what. Are you ready? Do you see color? And if you move your eyes, does the color suddenly seem black and white? Well, that's because this image is black and white. In fact, all the colors you just saw were actually placed there by your brain. Do you want to know how? Welcome to my channel. My name is Josh, and in this video, we're going to explore how we perceive the world around us, and that the colors that we're seeing might not actually be there. So like and subscribe to help the algorithm and play along as we jump into the wild world of brains and color. And maybe, just maybe, I might be able to blow your mind. Color is a huge part of the world and plays a tremendous role on how we react and respond to things around us. It can affect the way we feel, the way we think, how we interact with one another, and even whether or not we buy a specific item. Yet, oftentimes we take it for granted. The crazy thing about color is that each of our brains is conditioned to associate a certain thing with a certain color. For example, would you eat a purple cauliflower? Maybe not. But a purple grape, on the other hand, absolutely. But have you taken a second to wonder why that actually is, or why color even exists at all? Well, that's simple. We have millions of photoreceptors in our eyes that help us see color. When we stare at a color for a specific time, the cells responsible for that color begin to wear out and don't respond as quickly. So for example, when you stare at this image, some of your photoreceptors, like the ones in charge of reds and oranges, start to get sleepy. Then, when the image quickly flips to black and white, the other photoreceptors in charge of those complementary colors try to make up for the lagging ones. Now, a lot of this can be explained with a simple color wheel. For example, as you can see, orange and blue are complementary colors. So when the orange color simply goes away, your brain adds blue to this black and white image. Same with the red and green. This all results in a grand sensation of color, even when, like in this black and white photo, the color isn't actually there. Now, for the most part, we all agree on color, like red being red, or blue being blue, or pink being pink. But what if you found out that actually wasn't the case? What if you learned that color was actually in the eye of the beholder? To find out, let's take a look at this next test. Inside this random collection of dots is a hidden number. Can you see it? That's right, it's the number 56. Pretty easy, right? How about this one? If you can see the number 6, then you'd be correct. And turns out you'd be like the vast majority of people in the world with regular color vision. But let's try one more that might be a little bit harder. What do you see here? Can you spot it? Well, don't beat yourself up because it turns out that over 90% of people can't spot the number in this picture. Let's change it a little though and see if that can help. Can you see it now? You might be stumped as to how you missed it. After all, it was right in front of you this entire time. The crazy thing is there are some people who actually likely saw this number right away, and it turns out that those people are part of a very specific 8% of the world who are colorblind. But why is someone who's colorblind able to see something that no one else can? Well, that's pretty easy because people who are considered to have regular sight have 3 types of color receptors, whereas people who are colorblind only have 2. This may actually enable them to better see subtle patterns within a field of similar colors. But even if you have what's considered normal vision, you may not actually see as much as you think you do. At the most basic level, color is simply light, and light simply consists of electromagnetic waves. But we can only see these waves when they're of the right length. For example, too long and you get microwaves, which are great for heating up food, but not so much for seeing. And too short, you get X-rays. But right in the middle between those two, you get that sweet spot called visible light. If you could see beyond the tiny sliver of visible light that's useful to humans, you'd realize that you're surrounded by beautiful things, all hidden in plain sight. Don't believe me? Check out this flower. It looks normal, right? But let's take a gander at what it looks like under UV light. For example, say how an insect might see it. Pretty cool, huh? Much like in the last illusion, those who were colorblind were able to see a pattern that others couldn't. How crazy is it that nature can hide something so colorful right in front of our eyes? In fact, one might say James Cameron may have been inspired by the wonders of this planet seen through UV light when he created the world of Pandora in the movie Avatar. You see, light is the key to every single color you see every single day. Take a look at this leaf, for example. What color is it? Is it blue, green, red, or orange? Seems pretty obvious, right? Green, duh. But it's actually a trick question because every answer is actually the correct one, except green. You see, leaves are unable to absorb green visible light, so they reflect it back out into the environment and eventually into our eyes. If that sounds crazy, it is. But here's something even more crazy. Reflectance means you'll actually never see the real color of an object in your entire life. Meaning, an orange isn't orange, the sky isn't blue, and a panda? Well, who the hell can say what they are? The weird thing is, the world doesn't actually seem like this, because once our brains associate an object with a color, it will do everything possible in its power to keep it that way. Don't believe me? Let's do another test. The image below shows a picture of a Coca-Cola bottle. What color do you see? Likely you said, Josh, don't be an idiot, it's a Coke bottle and it's red. Or so it seems. But what color are those lines really? In fact, the red Coke that you see isn't actually red at all. To test that claim, here's the exact same image with a lot of the blue taken away from it. Nothing else in this photo has changed, it's still the exact same as the first one I showed you, but does it look a little bit different? How about now? Can you see that the lines are in fact just black and white and not actually red? This phenomenon you're seeing is called color consistency. We interpret colors as stable and unchanging, regardless of the effects of colored illumination or the distractions of shadows. A Coke can is going to look red regardless of whether we see it in black and white with a blue overtone. Our visual systems make such inferences automatically and unconsciously, and in fact it's almost impossible for the conscious mind to override it. But what if we could override it? Let's take our newly acquired knowledge and dive into our last puzzle. Now pay attention here. Look at these pink dots. Notice anything off? Probably not, it's just some flashing dots, nothing crazy. But now focus on the cross in the middle. Keep looking. Has a green dot magically appeared? Pretty crazy, right? The question is, where is it coming from? Because it definitely doesn't exist on the screen. And if we're seeing colors that don't actually exist, well then that begs the question, do any colors actually exist at all? How does your brain see something so clearly that isn't actually there? Well, if you think back to the color wheel in our first illusion, you'll find the answer. Because the colors on the screen are all the same color, our pink color receptors are once again starting to fatigue. And when the dot disappears from us focusing on the X, they can't balance out this complementary color, so in turn you see a phantom green dot. Pretty crazy, right? Well, I hope your brain's officially been put to the test and shown when it comes to color, there's always more than actually meets the eye. If you enjoyed doing these experiments and stretching your mind, like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.